Hey there, welcome to the Sargent Studios here at the Greater Arlington Chamber of Commerce. I'm Brian Weatherford. I'll be your host today. Today's going to be a lot of fun. We always enjoy interviewing the different members here at the Chamber, but today we have someone with us who's part of we're going to get into this, a multi-generational family business. We always enjoy those as well. Commercial real estate is where we are today, specifically SVN Dunn Commercial. My guest is Courtney Stanford. Courtney, welcome. How are you? All right, I got to ask you something. The name of the business is SVN Dunn Commercial. I understand the Dunn part. I don't understand the SVN part.
Sure. Yeah. So SVN Dunn Commercial was started as Dunn Commercial initially back in 2001. And it was started by my father. He had a lot of success in business, decided to roll out his own business as Dunn Commercial. And then later on, he joined what was called SVN at the time, which was Sperry Van Ness. Rand Sperry and Mark Van Ness, two founders, had a philosophy about a shared value network and a lot of collaboration. And so what they did is they came together, they started this SVN network or shared value network that allowed us to expand our horizon beyond state lines. So in 2007, SVN Dunn Commercial was formed, and we no longer are Dunn Commercial.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me about that. All right, so as I teased here at the top of our segment, it's a family business. You already mentioned your dad. I mean, the business has been around probably maybe before you were around even. I don't know how far back we go, but I got to ask this question. Anytime I get to talk to someone that's in your position, when did you first get involved with the business? I mean, did you go to work with dad? Or
when I was a little girl, I would come in the office. I'd be helping him out with property brochures. We had a saltwater aquarium. I'd help feed the fish. And then we'd go across the street to the Trail Dust Steakhouse, and we'd ride down the slide. Go to Six Flags sometimes if we were really good. But I grew up coming to Arlington and being involved in the business.
So when did you reach the point in life where you realized, yeah, this is what I'm going to do?
After I hit a lot of roadblocks.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to college at TCU, and I thought go Frog. And I thought going into the family business was not what I wanted to do initially. So I spent the first 5 years of my career kind of dabbling in different things.
Sure.
And after I'd tried a couple things, like the sampler platter of everything you could try,
right.
My dad kind of reeled me back in. And he said, okay, Courtney, just give me a month in the business. We'll see how it goes. And the rest was history. So now I've been there for 6.5 years, and I'm loving it.
And did you come on board as managing director?
No, I had to work my way up.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So is that one of the hindrances when you come into a family business and it's, oh, great, the dad's daughter?
Yeah. That was the big thing. So for my dad, before he started his business, he dealt with another family business where he was involved in it, but he wasn't part of the family.
Okay.
And there was a lot of nepotism.
Okay.
And so that historic business, they actually took away one of my dad's territories, gave it to the son of the owner, and said, well, he deserves this because he needs to provide for his family. And my dad was like, well, what about me? I need to provide for my family too. So coming in from the get-go, they treated me just like anybody else. I had to work my way up. I started as our director of operations, and then I moved into a sales role, and eventually I earned the right to be a managing director.
You know, a lot of times in sports, there's always the stories. It's the coach's kid. It's always a tough place to be. The coach is tougher. Have you found that?
It is. It's challenging for sure.
But I love the word, I earned.
I did. I just earned it this year. I got my broker's license in February, and then I got promoted shortly thereafter to managing director.
Well, let's talk about the different services. I mean, commercial real estate is such a big fish, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do everything in commercial real estate? Do you specialize in?
Yeah. So the nice thing about the SVN platform is we can handle any type of commercial real estate that anybody owns, anything from golf and resorts to mobile home parks. But really our specialty is industrial real estate.
Mm-hmm.
That's our bread and butter. We also do a lot of office. We've done retail in the past. And what we do is we have what's called product councils, and these are nationally done. So if there's ever an area of expertise we don't have the credibility or the knowledge in, we bring in another SVN resource that can supplement us so we can make sure that we service our clients the best way possible.
And then conversely, if there's another SVN resource elsewhere, they need you.
Correct. Yeah. So we all depend on each other.
That is a good way to.
Yeah, we're a very collaborative company.
Collaborative is a good. Well, your mission statement, as a matter of fact, if you don't mind, I'm going to look at it quickly. Collective strength, accelerated growth.
Correct.
Touch on that. What you're saying. The collective strength strength of everybody, then it accelerates growth.
Right. And we actually just did a rebranding recently. If you go to the SVN website, you'll see our new rebrand, which is really cool. They took the concept of gravity and pulling all of it together, right?
Right.
And that's what really creates that accelerated growth.
So is that everything we're talking about, is that the SVN difference I was reading about earlier?
Yeah. So the SVN difference is really the concept of understanding the difference between how we operated versus another SVN or another type of real estate office. So SVN, we operated with this shared collaboration model. And so what that means is compensated collaboration. So if you, for example, are a residential realtor and you come to me with your commercial client and you say, hey, I have a residential client, I've sold them a home, I'm not a commercial realtor, but they want to buy your office building over here, we will always compensate you fairly, 50% of the commission, 100% of the time. Not all companies will do that. And what that does is it allows us to expand our network, our reach, beyond our internal database. So we actually consider our competition our distribution strategy.
Isn't that interesting?
And we have what's called the 9.6% difference. It was a report that was done to help people understand the value that they're getting by hiring us versus another firm. And what that does is when you sell a piece of real estate, the typical commission percentage is somewhere in the range of 6%. It depends, of course, on who you're working with. And
everything's negotiable.
Yeah, everything's negotiable. But just from an idea of the standpoint we've seen in the past, usually 6% is about what we see. And what we know is that if we put it on market using the SVN platform, including SVN Live, which is a national property broadcast that happens every week, you get so much exposure to your property that properties on average receive a 9.6% higher sales price, which more than covers our commission of 6%.
Goodness.
So it's really a win-win all around.
We read all the time these days regarding, you mentioned residential real estate. I know it's not your thing, but there's a method to my madness here. On the residential side, we hear about, particularly here in the North Texas area, all of the investors that are out of state that purchase residences here, they may never even see.
Right.
Is the same thing go with commercial real estate?
So, yeah, it does. So we have a lot of international investors, a lot of investors from California, a lot of investors from other states because they see that Texas is a great place to be. In fact, I'm actually going to be speaking at an upcoming event about the industrial real estate sector here in DFW. But we have seen just tremendous growth. We have approached over 1 billion square feet in inventory in industrial loans. So when you're driving up and down the highways, you'll see these mega warehouses. Sure. Some of them are multiple football fields long, but it's because, we are just such a great distribution network, and we're actually the only distribution hub that doesn't have a navigable waterway, which is pretty interesting.
That is an interesting stat. I like that. Love stats about that. So when I was reviewing the notes today, getting ready for you to come in here to Sargent Studios, isn't Sargent Studios cool, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
I read about this SVN Jumpstart event that I guess the whole staff just went to.
Yes.
Well, what is that? Is it an educational tool? Or what?
It is, yeah. So SVN Jumpstart is a way for anybody that's thinking about joining SVN to learn more about the company, but also for new and existing advisors and staff to be able to educate themselves to the highest level. So we have anything from sales training to, just new techniques, new technologies. We've talked a lot about AI and all the new things going on there. So really keeping ourselves aware of the latest, greatest stuff, which is amazing. That's what SVN really offers.
Well, it's just another great tool that everybody gets.
Oh, yeah.
And are you at the point now, you'd have to be, if you're looking to grow your Dunn stuff, are people coming to you wanting to work, or can you go out and find people? Or?
Sure. It's kind of a hybrid of both. Sometimes people find us just through word of mouth. Other times they, are find us through a recruiting advertisements they've seen out on Indeed or a different job recruiting website. We are always looking for talent, but it has to be the right talent. So not everybody can do this job.
Well, it's got to feel nice to be able to be selective.
It is, yeah.
Too many times people just try to fill a void and don't really get deep, but you don't need to do that.
Nope.
I worked at a place one time, I'd always get asked the question, are you hiring? And I'll always say, no, we're always upgrading.
good way to think
We don't
about it.
hire, we upgrade. All right, I'm going to ask a question here from a guy that doesn't know a lot about commercial
Okay.
real estate. You're a tenant rep broker.
Okay.
All right. Why would I need, first of all, why would I need a tenant rep broker? And second of all, who's going to pay for it?
Sure. No, it's a great question. We get asked that all the time.
Good.
All the time. So you're not alone.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, when you're going out looking for real estate, most people start by looking at loopnet.com.
Okay.
That is the biggest search resource available to the general public. What they don't realize is loopnet.com is a paid advertising service that allows brokers to advertise properties on there. And if they don't pay a lot of money to get their advertising out, then they don't get, the ad doesn't get posted on LoopNet.
Oh.
So you may not be seeing everything that's on the market. There are other market resources such as Crexy. You might see officespace.com or whatever it is you're looking for. You can find resources. Just know that you may not see everything. So I always use the analogy of an iceberg. You've got the tip above the surface that you see, and then you got this whole big, underneath.
All right.
And so what I can do as a tenant rep broker to help you would be I can simplify the search process. I can tighten up the timeline, streamline the timeline, help guide you through the negotiations process. And then by the end of it, you're not even having to pay me. This is a service covered by the landlord. So at the end of the day, that's the best part is people don't realize that this is 100% complimentary to them. And it's in your favor to work with a tenant rep broker that can help you find space because it's free.
Well, and also going back to the iceberg analogy, so with the iceberg, you see the shiny, pretty part up here, but you don't see the bad stuff.
Exactly. And we know what to look for.
I don't know to look for that. I'm just heading straight to that shiny spot. And next thing I know.
Exactly. And it's kind of like, with your golf game, I don't know if you play golf or not. But
Marginally.
Okay. Or any other sport, you get out there, you get on the field and you're doing it and you have a coach.
Right.
That coaches you through the process. That's how we see ourselves. We're a coach. We're an advisor. You can do as much as you want to do or as little as you want to do. Of course, the more involved you are, the better, because that's going to enhance the results. But at the end of the day, we're here to help guide you through that process.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. And I guarantee you made me feel better saying I'm not the only one that asked.
Oh, yeah. So similar. I mean, we've got a ton of great blog resources on our website about common questions from HVAC to what kind of flooring do I need to use. I mean, all the questions, there's never a dumb question to ask.
So when you're SVN Dunn commercial and you're looking to bring in somebody new, is there a certain type of person you're looking for? Do you like to find someone that's been doing this stuff and now they come here, or would you rather have someone come in that doesn't have all this?
That is a great question, and I think it's a combination of both.
Okay.
The people that are the most successful, and I actually was just having a coffee meeting with somebody about this morning, is the people that I'll pose the question to you. What do you think is the number one most important skill to be successful in a career in commercial real estate?
I would have to think it's people skill. People buy from people. I would think it's personality. You got to get somebody. If you know everything about commercial real estate, but I don't like you, I'm not going to do business with you.
That's very important. Well, they did a study. We like our studies at SVN, I guess. We're very into that. So we did a study a few years back, and we found that it was a study of the most successful agents and how they got into the business. And we like to look at the stats, the numbers, because those are what speak. And what we realized is a bachelor's degree actually falls on the low end in terms of expectations of an SVN advisor and how successful they are. What really is the most important factor is self-determination, self-motivation, and grit. Those things are what get you through the tough times. There's actually a book written by Angie Duckworth called Grit, and I'm actually considering having all of our new agents read that before they come aboard and write a book summary.
So basically, going back to your coach analogy, not just coaching with your clients, but coaching with your staff.
Right.
You bring in the person with the necessary skills that you know from your research.
Right.
This is what we need.
Yes.
And then with everything that you bring to the table, you can come out with it.
And I've found that some of the most successful people are in surprising places. For example, we have a girl that works on our team. She's been in the business for 2 years now. She came out of education. She was a middle school band director.
Interesting.
And she's now a very successful commercial real estate agent. We have other people that have had very interesting career paths. And typically getting into the career of commercial real estate is usually a second or a third career path for somebody. It's not usually something that somebody jumps into right after school.
Yeah, but much like you,
Yeah,
though you
exactly.
grew up in the business, you did other things.
Yeah,
Okay, well, let me ask you this, and no offense intended, but as young as you are,
sure.
but you've been into this one way or another for a long time,
hmm
are you at the position in life where you're actually a mentor?
Yeah, I think it's important to mentor and be mentored as well.
Yeah, both.
Both.
And mentors have mentors.
I've always heard that, like, if you have one hand up and you're reaching and grabbing for the next
Right.
thing, you should always have one hand down at the same time.
That's a
So
great one.
I do
Good.
both.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, as we sit here in Sargent Studios here at the Chamber,
Mm-hmm.
you guys have been a member of the Chamber for a long time.
Yes.
And I've got to ask, as successful as you are, maybe you could do it without the Chamber, maybe not, but why do you think active membership in the Chamber, what has it done for you personally and professionally?
Yeah. So when I first got, I guess, fully committed to the business about 6.5 years ago, I was looking for people around my age that I could connect with in the Arlington community. And so I wasn't necessarily looking for, people I could sell my services to. I was just more looking for connection to other individuals with a like-minded growth mindset.
Okay.
And I found that through the Chamber Young Professionals.
Oh,
And so shortly thereafter, I was nominated to be on the committee. I served on the committee for 4 years, and then I rolled off, and now I have our Director of Operations serving on the committee.
okay.
And it's really exciting to see her growth. We were just talking about it this morning. She was telling me that she has her first committee meeting this afternoon. She's still looking forward to being involved in that. So I think just getting those resources of connection with other people who are also in similar situations is very important. One other important thing I learned from Henry Lusick, who used to be
Sure, absolutely.
very influential and still is within the Chamber, is he told me this analogy of a rainbow.
Okay.
And I loved it. I still use it today because I'm like, that was just brilliant. But he said that when people first join the Chamber, they're all about me, me, me. What can I get for myself, my business? Let me put myself out there. Let me do all these things. And then they eventually realize there's this rainbow, and they cross over the rainbow to the other side, and they find the pot of gold. And what they find is that it's not about you at all. It's actually about everybody else. So once you realize that, he says that's when people upgrade to the CLC level.
Nice. Nice.
So we ended up upgrading because of that conversation.
Is that right?
We did. Yeah, we're back down to the basic just
Right.
because of, the times.
Sure,
But
sure. Get
we'd
that.
love to upgrade again at some point.
Well, I bet we could certainly find someone to assist you with that.
Yeah.
When the time comes. But regardless, we're so proud to have had you guys as longtime members at whatever level you're members
Sure.
of the Chamber.
And
And it's
all members are valid, at the
oh, absolutely. All the levels. We love all the levels. You've been all the levels.
Yes.
But more importantly, you've been an active member. And that's why I wanted to bring it up. Because I tell people all the time, joining is the first step. But if you're just going to write a check and not show up at anything, save your money.
Exactly.
And young professionals, I'm so glad you talked about that. That's one of our more active member groups here.
Well, and it's been really interesting to see where it started and where it is now.
Yeah.
Especially during COVID, we totally shook up the Chamber Young Professionals
Absolutely.
and reinvented what it looked like.
Yeah.
And we're still seeing some of those things still as
Well,
out.
thank you for that. I appreciate that, and thank you for sharing the story on your life, your life before, your life where you are now. And I really like the fact that so many people think, well, if you grow up in the business, I got to go this direction. You didn't want to go this direction. You went over here like all of us, and you learned other stuff to become the Courtney that you are today.
Exactly.
And you earned your.
And the path has not been easy by
No,
any means.
Of course not.
And I've had to work hard to earn my stripes.
Right.
But I'm happy I'm here now.
And I know every day you're working to earn more stripes. So maybe we'll get you back in here and talk about that. But for now, I appreciate you coming in here today. Thank you for your membership. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy life to sit down and share your story with us today. It was great to have you here.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Folks, as always, we appreciate you being with us too. And as Courtney knows, and we all know, together we succeed. So thank you very much. Take care.